Hello. My name is Inigo Montoya.
No.
You killed my father. Prepare to die.
His name is really Angela, if you look at the script.
I don't think that is true.
Train's moving. All right. Welcome to the H on H, 605 and the 601, the New Croc Park. Welcome to the Black Bear. Welcome to the Den. Welcome to the...
Snug.
There it is. Doug Reiser.
Yes, sir.
Karis Carter.
Here.
Ashley Mae King.
Hello.
I'm Rosie. We are the JuJuBeez. Okay, On the Stick, a 1987 film directed by Rob Reiner, The Princess Bride.
This is a fantasy, adventure, comedy, romance. It is based on the novel of the same name by William Goldman, who also adapted the screenplay for this film. It is a story within a story about a hero's quest to save his one true love from an evil prince who would force her hand in marriage. Marriage, even.
Marriage. Fun fact, this film was inducted into the National Film Registry in 2016. The American Film Institute has listed this film as one of the 100 greatest film love stories.
Deservedly
Don't
so.
forget about him.
Oh, no.
Okay, before we get started, the JuJuBeez would like to take a second and just say thank you to our growing base of followers and subscribers on this channel. We so appreciate your support, your likes, your comments, and the feedback has been so positive and also constructive. Keep it coming. And from what you all have told us in your feedback, you're having an absolute blast being here with us on this podcast. And as much as you enjoy watching and listening, we enjoy doing it. Also, the JuJuBeez want to discuss one of your favorite movies, so drop your suggestions in the comments section, and we will discuss one of your favorites on an upcoming podcast. Okay, here's the truth. I had never seen The Princess Bride before this week.
You're one of those.
Shocking.
Was not in the club. Couldn't have told you what it was about. And I mean, I probably could have made a decent guess, but frankly, never had the slightest interest in seeing it. But eventually it catches up with you, and you know, you can't deny the overwhelming love this movie garners. And oh yeah, we have this podcast here where we discuss movies. So here we are. And now I've seen it, and now I get it. And now I get why a fairy tale romance has not just appeal with folks who like the whimsical, but this film is universally loved by men and women, young and old, because there is much more than a fairy tale here. There are undertones of revenge and evil and courage and grandfathers connecting with grandsons, and it all makes for a very broad appeal. And I see that now. And now I'm in the club. I've seen The Princess Bride.
Welcome.
Did you get your badge?
I don't have a badge.
It's in the mail.
Okay.
Yeah, it's
Did you
coming.
like?
We signed you
What
up.
did you not like?
My thoughts on this film coming up, but let's get this discussion officially started with Ashley Mae King. What'd you like? What'd you love? What not so much? Princess Bride.
Oh, I'm so excited to discuss this movie. This is like my all-time comfort film. I saw it as a kid, absolutely loved it. Immediately read the book, loved it even more. If you haven't read the book, you definitely should. So William Goldman adapted the screenplay just like he wrote the book, and it very much echoes that same tone and is that story within a story. I think every book report I wrote from 6th grade on was about this book. I was a little obsessed. And just like the kid sick in bed, like hearing this story and kind of like getting a little bit more chipper through it. I always put this movie on when I'm feeling a little down, and it never fails to make me feel better. So yeah, let's break it down. What I liked about it is that relationship between the kid and his grandfather. I think it's so cute and adorable and relatable. It reminds me a lot about my own grandpa, who would come over and tell us Jack tales, which if you do know what that is, it's a very Appalachian thing. And I don't know, it felt so familiar, you know, that relationship. And let's just jump right into what I love, because it is camp fantasy and I love it. The combination of humor and fantasy is just my absolute favorite. That intersection has really defined a lot of my life, and I really trace it back to this movie. And I really do love everything about it. The dialogue is so well written. The sets, the costumes, the design of it all. It's creating this fantasy world but feels so accessible at the same time. I love seeing a styrofoam rock face. Classic. And this whole era of like fantasy film was like, it's fantasy on a budget, but you're still buying into it all the same. I absolutely love it. And the classic fight choreography by Bob Anderson, that sword fight between Inigo and Wesley is so good. If you don't know, Bob Anderson also choreographed all of the Star Wars films. He's an absolute legend. And beyond that, this film is just so funny. I particularly, my favorite bit and shtick is that physical comedy when Wesley is coming back from being quote unquote mostly dead. And he's just like, they're moving his head all around and everything, and he's flopping around, and just like everyone is so devoted to these characters and the comedy, and it just comes across as so fun. And beyond, the casting is so good. They're all so perfect for the archetypes that they are playing. I adore Mandy Patinkin as Inigo and Andre the Giant as Fezzik, and their relationship is just so wholesome. Cary Elwes is the most beautiful man alive, and he's just so charming and dashing as Wesley. I spend a lot of this movie swooning over him. And even Prince Humperdinck, like, you love to hate him. Like, he's so good in that role, being so smarmy and smug while talking about murdering his wife. It's crazy. And to speak of Princess Buttercup, played by Robin Wright, the only thing I don't love, that the only female protagonist is kind of like damseled in most of this movie, but even within that role, she does find these moments of agency and really sticks to her convictions and stands up for herself. And we love to see that. Yeah, which kind of takes me into what I didn't like, which is really just the unrealistic expectation of love that this film gave me. I'm still out here waiting for my as you wish, farm boy, come back from the dead, storm a castle for me kind of love. And this film instills you with such a sense of that, you know, this is true love. You think this happens every day. I love that about this film. Did I say love enough in that?
I think so.
Okay, great.
Wait, one more time?
Love. And that's kind of it.
Cool. Dougie, what'd you like? What'd you love? What not so much?
You covered so much. Princess Bride obviously is a brilliant classic comedy. It's one of the most 100 comedic films of all time. So to celebrate this, he did a fantastic job with the casting, number one. To have Billy Crystal in there, and Cary Elwes, and even bringing somebody like Andre the Giant in the film in a smart role.
Anybody want a peanut?
He did. The dialogue, the energy, the overall wit is so tough to compare in film these days. That's why it's considered one of the greatest. And thank you, Rob Reiner, for giving this to us, that we can still talk about it today, that we're talking about it now. And it was completed in 1987. So I was 15 when I first saw it. So I don't know. And it took 14 years to create. A lot of people weren't really keen on, British comedy. I love the witty humor. I love the sarcasm. I love the wry wit. It's hilarious. What I liked about it, it balances this romance. It's very meticulous and choreographed. That sword play. I've watched it over and over again when he falls off the cliff and he throws him a rope.
Yes.
And he breaks it back up, and they're just like, that moment reminds me of you and me. We're just like,
wait, who's who in your brain?
Doug, you and me sword fighting?
Dueling to the death.
Cut.
It's I love it. It's like my favorite scene. It's so, the communication and energy, they don't even say anything. They're just like, but they get it. the energy is so brilliant, and I love it. And they talk about just rodents of this unusual size. There's Princess Buttercup and her childhood sweetheart, Wesley. I just think that the discovery of this comedy is going to be, it'll never end. I don't know if you've ever seen British comedy before, but there's a reason why this is so legit, and the romance, obviously, and it's quietly moving. It touches me every time I see it, and it just some of the silent effects of the movie just makes me exhilarating, and I just love everything about this movie. I don't think there's really anything I don't like about this film. I really don't. I love British comedy. Love British humor.
You'd probably rather that he had a Yankees pennant up in his room, though, right? Instead of the Cubs.
Oh, maybe there's something that I don't like.
Karis.
Found it.
But it's tough to compare.
Yeah.
The wit is tough to compare. It really is.
Yeah.
What'd you like? What'd you love? What not so much? Princess Bride.
I mean, let's face it, Carrie is one of the most, he's, what did I write down here? A classic fairy tale, handsome prince look. His eyes, his smile, the hair. Wiping drool off my mouth as I'm watching this film. It's just really aesthetically pleasing.
He's so pretty.
Everyone's beautiful. All the characters are so full of charm and intrigue and uniqueness.
Andre the Giant.
Yes, they're all, man. It's a beautiful film to watch. It's a beautiful film to watch. And yeah, Peter Falk and Fred Savage in this beautiful, intimate relationship. So the movie starts off really quick, right? So no spoilers here. A little boy is sick, and his grandfather comes to spend time with him and read this book to him, this story to him on his bedside. And then the story just boom hits it from there, from the very beginning of the movie. And like you were saying, this grandfather figure is like the grandfather that everyone wants to be their grandfather. And that relationship, that beautiful, nurturing relationship between two men, and the fact that it's celebrating reading, which doesn't really happen anymore. Movies are movies, but the whole movie is being read from this book, and it's this beautiful relationship. And so that was just one of my favorite things about the whole movie, and that's what's really exciting for me to think about this movie continuing to be have this cult classic following for many, many decades to come, is because it's reminding people that's really where these stories came from.
Yeah, and the reluctance of the boy and how that melts away.
Is this a kissing book?
Ew, can we skip over that part?
And then by the end, he's like, a little kissing's okay.
Oh, it's so sweet.
It's a great point. A lot of people don't think about the book that it was derived from and talk about
Everyone
it.
should read it.
Glad you brought that up.
Absolutely.
If you don't know anything about the movie and you're watching it, you would naturally think, who created this? This is
Right.
This is something. This is a world.
Yeah, the way that it combines comedy and fantasy, adventure and drama, all at the same time, seamlessly. The only thing that it was lacking was like large full cast dancing and singing teams. That's really all it needed to really complete the whole package for me. Just to throw a little sing. No, I'm just kidding. It might ruin the film.
I know. I'm trying to think of where a musical number would go.
Short and sweet. I just love everything about it. I think we've covered a lot, but I really, really like the relationship, and the framing of how the story is told.
Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I don't feel like I have a ton unique to add because I feel like a lot of our audience has seen this film, but if you haven't, certainly that's why we're here. We want to have a discussion that might lead you in the right direction. But, I usually like a movie that has Fred Savage in it or a TV show that's really, I hadn't seen this. So I'm like, Fred Savage, and I'm thinking of the Wonder Years and just seeing him, that was really cool. And his character in this is wearing a Walter Payton jersey, and as I mentioned, has a Cubs pennant on his bedroom wall. That's a good start for someone like me. I was getting locked in early, and no coincidence that the setting for the grandfather-grandson part is presumably Chicago, my place of birth, by the way, and the birthplace of the creator, William Goldman, the brilliant and late William Goldman, the writer and creator of the story, as I mentioned. Honestly, what more can I add? I just want to touch on some things that I liked. I could not take my eyes off of, and I call him Andre the Giant because I grew up a wrestling fan. What an interesting talent this man was. Loved what he did. This character of Fezzik, easily my favorite character in this movie. Loved the sincerity of Robin Wright. So if you haven't seen this movie, and if you were like I was before this week, it's so well acted, so well made. The way the music is kind of intertwined in some of the action, in the action scenes. Rob Reiner makes nothing but gold. And again, this is for those of you who have not seen The Princess Bride. Chances are, if you do, you will not be disappointed. So let's take a score.
Yeah. Enthusiastic.
Dougie.
I got to give it a 10. All 10s.
Karis.
Thank you.
I have to give it a 10. I don't feel like I have a choice.
Yeah, Ashley.
You guys?
Let me guess.
This is the first 10 I'm giving. 10!
What should I do here? What should I do?
I wonder.
It won't be our first 40. It won't.
No, it won't, because we did just have.
But I there's no way. It is absolutely a 10. There's just nothing wrong with this movie. And my test for that, as I've always said, is do I want to watch it right back? I did. Absolutely did.
Oh, yeah.
So it's a 10 for me.
On repeat.
So that would be a total of 40. That's a perfect score. So based on our cumulative score, the JuJuBeez total cumulative score of 40, our recommendation for the film Princess Bride is...
Clear your schedule. See it tonight. Do it. You'll love it.
Ashley.
All right. The Princess Bride has a runtime of 1 hour, 38 minutes. It is rated PG for violence, some frightening moments, and rodents of unusual size. You can watch it on Disney Plus, Amazon Prime, Apple TV, Vudu, and YouTube.
Those rodents will get you, man.
They'll get you.
I mean, find that fire.
Final thoughts on this. Okay, I know the grandfather-grandson part is sort of the side plot of the larger picture.
Yeah.
It's how the story is told inside the greater story. But I absolutely love when Chicago has any role or hint in a film. So my shout out tonight is to other films that feature the great city of Chicago. Okay?
All right.
Shout out to Curly Sue. Shout out to Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Yes. Very good.
Shout out to About Last Night, Running Scared, Brewster's Million, National Lampoon's Vacation, Home Alone, Adventures in Babysitting, The Fugitive. The Fugitive was made in Chicago.
Was it
Wait,
really?
am I making a fairy tale romance into something about Chicago? I'll stop. Okay.
It's if your true love is Chicago, I think it's apropos.
How dare I? But hey, listen, do comment in the comments section. If you've got a favorite movie or if you've got a favorite Chicago movie, let us know. And if you like what we do, remember, if you like what we do, like it. And if you want us to keep making these podcasts, I assure you, our response will be a resounding as you wish.
As you wish.
As you wish.
Doug Reiser.
Jersey, baby.
Karis Carter.
I love you guys too.
Ashley Mae King.
Hello.
As always, JuJuBeez.
Wow.
Peace.
Awesome. Peace out.
Good one, guys.
I love it so
Good one,
much.
guys.
I want to go watch it now.
So we should put it
So wait,
on a big
why are we-
projector
Let's do
in the
it.
Why are we
backyard
talking
and have
about
a big
Chicago?
showing.
Magical.
The kids would love it, right?
Because the character was there.
New York City, baby. Come on.
I think enough movies take place in New York. Are you joking?
No movies.
A lot.
And wrap.